Listen up, get ready, I'm not gonna take no more. There's a revolution, a revelation going on in my soul. Buckle up, get ready, we're not gonna sit back.
Citizens of the world, welcome back to Live from the Heartland for the week of August 28th. I'm Michael James here with co-host Euan Hague. And our next guest is someone that we learned of through our sports reporter, Adam James, and he is the Ohio State Senator Bill DeMora. I've learned that he was a senior consultant and parliamentarian for the Ohio Democratic Party. He's managed several statewide campaigns. He served as the executive director of the Ohio Democratic Party and is executive director of the Ohio League of Conservation Voters. He does bleed scarlet and gray, loves the Ohio State football team. He has been to about 14 Northwestern Ohio State games here in Evanston, and unfortunately, Northwestern has lost every one of them. And he loves Ohio, but he loves Ohio State football almost as much as his commitment to the hardworking people of the Buckeye State. Good morning to you, Senator Bill.
Good morning, Michael. How are you today?
We're good. And
good morning.
It's been fun reading up about Ohio politics and thinking about it. There's that old saying that however Ohio goes, so goes the nation. And it worked in 2008 with Obama and in 2012 with Obama. We hope there's a shift. What do you got to tell us a little bit about Ohio State and the state of Ohio and the coming elections?
I mean, we have the chance to win everything here this year. I mean, people are fed up with the policies of the current administration. They're fed up in Ohio with data centers. They're fed up with the higher cost of living with gasoline and farm oil, which our farmers, agriculture is still the largest industry in Ohio, and the price of the farmers are having to pay for diesel and pay for fertilizer and driving up their costs. And now that the president wants to is importing foreign meat. I mean, it just hurts Ohioans, everyday Ohioans. And the mood here is one of anger towards Republican policies. Our governor candidate is just an unlikable person. One of the Doziers themselves, Vivek Ramaswamy, or I don't know how you pronounce his name. I just call him the idiot. I mean, he spent $30 million and hasn't raised his poll numbers by 1 point yet because he's just unlikable. And the fact that he is, he's not white, he's not a Christian, and he doesn't eat meat also hurts him with the Republican voters of the state. And so maybe we have a chance of getting the governor's mansion back. And Sherrod Brown has been polling above John Husted now consistently. I think he's up by 6 or 7 last poll I saw. Because John Husted, no one knows who he is. He's invariably tied with the largest corruption scandal in Ohio history with First Energy. I mean, he wrote the legislation. He was the main one who got it passed. And he's tied to it completely. And he also didn't want to be a senator. He wanted to be governor, and they pushed him out. So we have a chance of winning everything here, and I'm hopeful we can do that.
Well, that's great to hear. We're going to go through some of that in a little bit more detail. But, we encourage people to be activists or active people serving in an elected office. How about you telling our listeners and our viewers a little bit about yourself, how you got into being a public servant, what inspires you, and maybe some hopes for the future and the challenges to make those things happen?
So I walked my first precinct when I was 4 years old for my father, who was a councilman in my hometown of Euclid, which is a suburb on the east side of Cleveland. So I grew up with it. I enjoyed it. I would wear everybody's bumper sticker on my Euclid Letterman's jacket when I was in junior high and high school, and go to all the football games and everything and go door to door. I came to Ohio State, became president of College Democrats, worked in the State House of LePage for then Senator Lee Fisher, who became Attorney General. I drove him around the state when he was running for Attorney General because I just graduated Ohio State. And then from then, I've been working for the party one way or another, running campaigns, getting involved. It was kind of a fluke that I'm actually elected to office. 4 years ago, we had redistricting in Ohio, our Republican-controlled Supreme Court kept ruling the maps that our legislature drew unconstitutional because of gerrymandering. Federal court came in, picked a map, and the map they picked, the person that we'd endorsed, the Democratic Party for the district that I now serve in, had been drawn out of that district by a block. We needed somebody to run. As a petition guy for the state and county parties, I got petitions, filed them 2 days later on the deadline, which was to be our May primary date, was now the deadline for our August primary for legislative races. Our Secretary of State did not allow me on the ballot. We sued in the state Supreme Court, won the decision 4-3 in the case DeMora et al. Versus LaRose, our Secretary of State, and I was put on the ballot to be a state senator. And at the time, the district was 70% Democrat. I got 75% of the vote in November of 2022, and here I am. Never thought I'd be elected to anything because I was a guy that was, the party, we'll say, for lack of a better word, hatchet man, guy that buried the bodies, the guy that fixed the problems. But here I was now, elected official, and since that time, I've, everybody says I'm doing a good job representing my district and the people of Ohio, and I'm not afraid to be controversial. I'm not afraid to hold the Republicans accountable. As a matter of fact, when I leave here today off the call, I'm going to Ohio State's campus and I'm going to chalk on the sidewalks because Ohio State last year instituted a policy that students couldn't chalk, even though it's unconstitutional, even though it's against the Ohio Revised Code. I'm going to go chalk and hope they arrest me because the students deserve to chalk. And, I represent every student at Ohio State University, and I'm going to go out and do what I was paid to do, is represent them and get rid of something that I don't think is correct, and I know that's not legal. So I was inspired by my father, who was a councilman, like I said. Both my parents were high school teachers, taught me the importance of being knowledgeable and civic engagement. And so I just took off from there and have been doing politics one way or another since I got before even high school. So
obviously you're a proud alum there, and also and obviously an advocate. I mean, I think it's the assault on higher education is something we're seeing, and I'm just wondering, as a state senator, and obviously Ohio State, huge, not just. I mean, I think people often forget it's a huge employer as well as a producer of students. I mean, there's thousands of people work there in all aspects. What is the conversation in Ohio about this kind of attack on schools?
So it's horrible. I mean, last year my colleagues passed Senate Bill 1, the Higher, Education Act. They called it. We called it a travesty. Ohio State's had to get rid of several majors, several things that help students of minority backgrounds or foreign students because of this bill. We had to set up what I call a conservative institute called the Salmon P. Chase Institute at Ohio State to teach people how to be conservatives. Very few students take the class. So now there's a bill by the same author of Senate Bill 1 to make it mandatory that every student take these conservative indoctrination classes, even though they don't want to take them.
That sounds like free speech to me.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a joke. It's a travesty. And hopefully we get a new governor in here and try to get rid of some of this stuff, although we'll still have a majority Republicans in both houses of the legislature because we're so gerrymandered that no matter how good we do here, we aren't going to get the majority in either house or the Senate here in the Ohio legislature. But the chalking is not a law. Actually, our state revised code says that you can't stop somebody from their constitutional rights of free speech so long as they're not doing something that is harmful. And chalking and wishing the students, yesterday was the first day of classes. I'm going to go welcome all the students back and say, go Buckeyes. And if they try to arrest me, so be it. As I tell people, I'll get free football tickets the rest of my life if they try to arrest me. But the students are having their free speech rights taken from them. The ACLU has already filed suit in federal court about the chalking. And listen, I love my university, and I'm a proud alum, and I fought Senate Bill 1 tooth and nail. I stand up for my university in all ways, shapes, and forms. But that means when they do something wrong, they have to be held accountable. And this chalking ban is unconstitutional. It's taking away the students' free speech. And as the representative, as a state senator for all the students on campus, it's my job to go highlight this. And I'm going to have media there. And, I'm going to piss off the administration. But sometimes you have to be pissed off because, again, I have to represent everybody on campus. And again, this policy was done by the former president, who is long gone because they caught him having extramarital affair, and he was using state and university resources to help this affair with his girlfriend. He was an embarrassment to the university. He set this policy up, and admittedly, it came about because of some anti-Semitic things that were chalked. And I don't condone. I mean, I certainly don't support any behavior that's anti. Sorry, my dog's. Shush. There's no one at here, but I don't support anybody and any anti-Semitic views. But the university has the ability to wipe this stuff off the chalk with 2 minutes after they take a water gun to it. But to take away everybody's free speech because a couple of idiots did anti-Semitic stuff is not right. And again, if you support free speech, you have to support speech that you don't agree with. And so it's clearly unconstitutional, and I'm going to hold them accountable to it. And if they don't change the policy, they're going to draw my wrath. So that's what I'm doing.
I didn't know much about this chalking. I mean, I did my share of writing things like U.S. out of Vietnam, whether it was chalk or more often with paint. But I'm glad
paint would be illegal because paint's permanent. Chalk is not permanent. Yeah. Chalk can be, again, as soon as you put water on chalk, you get rid of chalk.
Yeah, so, and we have the famous case here, obviously, in Chicagoland history of the ACLU supporting the right of the Nazi Party in the 1970s to march in Skokie. It's that march never actually happened in the end, but very famous locally, the right to hold an opinion and to express that opinion that's the Constitution, right?
I agree. And again, Ohio State is wrong. They'll lose the lawsuit if they don't end this policy. And again, the students are being deprived of something that's been going on campus since I was in school in the 80s. So I'm going to support them. And again, if people get upset with me, they get upset with me, but I'm doing my job because I represent every student on that campus. And you're absolutely right. The university is, I think, our second or third largest employer behind the state of Ohio. Obviously, it's the number one employer in Franklin County. Ohio State's up there in the top three. I think Cardinal Health might be right there, or Nationwide Insurance. One of those two are up there as well. But again, there are 50,000 students on campus. And by the way, the faculty, the staff, the students, none of them were consulted when this policy. Ted Carter just announced this policy, didn't tell anybody about it, didn't get any input from anybody back last year. And it's something that needs to go. And since he's no longer here, because, again, he was banging his girlfriend using state resources to do so, it's time for our new president to come in and change some policies that were not right and that are actually illegal. So,
okay, we're if you just tuned in, we're talking with Bill DeMora, who is a state senator in Ohio. He's had a lot of positions with this Democratic Party. I'm going to read a couple of things that I got, I think, from the New York Times or somewhere. Dale Butland, a Democratic strategist in Ohio, said the signs of deep voter discontent were plainly visible. It's bad here, he said. Economic conditions are bad, but politically added, it's all breaking now in our favor. In the New York Times today or yesterday, angry Ohio voters could turn the state purple again. A governor's race, a Senate contest, and enough of a congressional contest to swing control of the House are all in play in Ohio, where voters of all stripes express a deep sense of powerlessness. How's it looking? You already filled us in a little bit. Let's go down the list a little bit. We've got for governor, you've got Vivek Ramaswamy versus Amy Acton, and she was the state health director under current Governor DeWine during the pandemic. What do you think of her chances?
I mean, all the polls have showed it's tied. I think, again, Ramaswamy has spent over $30 million, been on TV since Memorial Day, cannot change numbers because he's just unlikable. I mean, he's got the kind of face that when you see it, you want to punch him. And he was part of the whole Doge. I mean, he was anointed by Trump to come in here and run for governor. And again, he's got the winds of Ohio against him. I mean, he's not white and he's not Christian. And the Republican base is all white and all Christian. And that's hurting him. And also the fact that he's a vegan. I mean, believe it or not, that hurts him in Ohio, that he doesn't hunt and fish because most of their base hunts and fishes. So we've got that going for us. And I mean, he actually just started TV commercials last week. So we'll see what the polls show in the next couple of weeks after Amy Acton's TV is hitting a positive ad for her, negative ads by third-party groups on Ramaswamy. So we'll see what happens.
On your Senate race, we all know Sherrod Brown. He looks like in good shape. He's the latest poll I found had him at 55%. So we're rooting for him. Now in the House races, you have, I think, 15 congressional seats. 5 are, I think, currently held by Democrats. Any of these races stand out? Is there any chance to get rid of Jim Jordan?
Oh, I wish we could get rid of Jim Jordan, but that district is so gerrymandered that I don't think Jesus Christ could win as a Democrat right now. I can tell you that Marcy Kaptur is in a Republican seat after we redrew districts, but she's going to win because her opponent is a same guy she beat 2 years ago, and Trump's not on the ballot this year, so I think she's going to win. Greg Landsman is in a seat in Hamilton County it's basically 50-50. He's going to win. Amelia Sykes in the Akron area, her district got better with redistricting. She's going to win. The other 2 seats are safe Democratic seats, one in inner city Cleveland, one here in inner city Columbus. The seat that's going to switch is a seat that's now held by Max Miller, the guy who beats his wife and child, who's our current U.S. Senator Bernie Moreno's ex-son-in-law. He was married to Bernie Moreno's daughter. He beat her. He beat the child. His own party, both U.S. senators have called for him to resign. He didn't step down, so he's on the ballot. His negative numbers are through the roof. And we're going to flip that seat with Brian Poindexter, who's a card-carrying union member of the steelworkers. And we're going to win that seat, which is Trump won it by double digits 2 years ago. But because of all the personal scandals that Max Miller has, we're going to flip that that seat. So we're going to have it's going to be 9-6 here in Ohio, which means that's one more seat the Democrats have picked up that they didn't expect to pick up at the beginning of the cycle.
That's good news to hear. In the news today, a judge blocks Ohio from requiring proof of citizenship for voter registration.
Yeah.
Who actually controls the election apparatus? Is it straight up and fair, or do the Republicans have some malfeasance going on?
Well, I mean, each county board of elections has equal numbers of Democrats and Republicans by statute. So the votes are, each county runs their own elections. The votes are counted at the county level by Democrats and Republicans, and then sent to our Secretary of State. Now, our Secretary of State is an idiot. He's a Republican, Frank LaRose. He's now running for either auditor or treasurer. And they're all flip-flopping here. I can't remember, honestly, which one he's running for. But he just reports on those results. Now, he has done everything he can. Yes, the court ruled that they don't have to provide citizenship proof to register. But right now on the ballot, we have a constitutional amendment that would mandate that voter IDs have to be shown in order to vote. Hopefully that goes down. I wrote the actual arguments to vote no on the issue. The official ones have to be published by the Secretary of State along with the ballot language and the explanation and the yes, people that voted want to vote yes for it. We also have a state law that mandates you have to show certain forms of ID to vote now. So you have to show a driver's license or state issued ID card or a passport or a federally issued military ID. And that's what they want to put in the Constitution forever now, the same forms of ID, which I think is short-sighted because in 10 years, no one's going to have a license that's a physical card. You're going to have biometrics on your thumb. You're going to have something on your phone. and this would enshrine these old technologies in our Constitution. It also, it hurts students. I mean, nowadays, most college students don't have driver's licenses because they don't drive anymore. They get older and older before they start driving, and their college IDs don't work anymore because the law doesn't allow them to use it. And so these students don't have IDs. So we have to try to get them IDs so they can vote. And that, and, poor people who don't have time to run to the one BMV in a rural county, or in Columbus's case, we have 4 BMVs for a population of 1.5 million people. It's just not enough. And people, that work for a living, and the BMVs are only open on work hours, they can't get their IDs. So the Republicans here in the last 10 years have done everything they can to make it harder for people to vote, whether it's voter IDs. This last primary election, back earlier this year, the legislature passed a law that says we can no longer accept ballots that come in after Election Day, even if they're postmarked, because they thought the Supreme Court of the United States was going to rule that way. Well, of course, the Supreme Court didn't. The Supreme Court said that, yes, ballots are allowed to be counted if they come in after Election Day, so long as they're postmarked on Election Day. And so right now, the Supreme Court ruled something that, unfortunately, this was a Mississippi case, so it doesn't affect us because we passed a law. But again, they've done everything they can to make it harder for people's votes to be counted because they know that if everybody voted, Republicans would lose every election. So they're trying to stifle the vote.
The other big news out of Ohio this week, and it goes back actually to the conversation of the election a couple of years ago, is your Haitian community and this new policy of fitting people who are legally allowed to live and work in the state of Ohio and the United States more generally, of course, with ankle monitors. I mean, that's got to be, they're treating these people like criminals.
They're treating them like slaves back in the 1800s. This is abhorrent. I mean, even our Republican governor has come out and said this should not happen. The Haitians are productive citizens of Ohio and in Springfield. They are taking jobs that no one else wanted to take. They're producing, they're paying taxes. They're doing everything right they should be doing. But because our racist president decides that he doesn't like Haitians and he wants to get rid of them all, I mean, ICE is abhorrent. I mean, not just for Haitians, but for all the other citizens they roped up around Columbus, including those in my district. They're holding them in the Butler County Courthouse. That's basically a gulag. Their guy down there is like the sheriff in Arizona. He has a big cowboy hat, his fancy mustache, but the guy's a scumbag criminal. It's abhorrent what we're doing to people that were here legally. But because the Supreme Court, decided to, side with Trump, and now they can be deported to Haiti. Haiti is a country in disarray. It's not safe. It's not secure. They still haven't come back from the hurricane of several years ago. These people are scared to go back for their own lives, and I agree with them. But, the president doesn't give a crap about anybody that's not a billionaire that gives him money. So, they're being sacrificed for his whim. And it's abhorrent. And like I said, even our Republican governor says it's abhorrent and this shouldn't happen. But again, Trump is Trump. And again, if you're not one of his rich billionaire friends, he don't care about you.
Yeah, and you hear in the media, I mean, obviously we're in Illinois, you hear in the media, though, that employers in Ohio are welcoming the Haitian people who are working with them. They have no concerns. That's right.
There are no concerns. I mean, this all started because the idiot vice president we have, who was a U.S. senator at the time, and then our idiot president
another
said,
Ohio representative.
Yeah, I know. And our idiot president said they were eating cats and dogs and all this crap. I mean, it's utterly ridiculous. Our governor came out right after those statements and said this is ridiculous. He's been to Springfield. I mean, I don't agree with our governor on a lot of things, but he actually cares about people, and he's very religious, and he cares about these people, and he doesn't want this. And again, you're right. The businesses in Springfield, I mean, who's going to do all these jobs if all these people get thrown out of the country? Nobody. I mean, Springfield was a dying town, and then the Haitians moved in there and revitalized it and opened up businesses and to serve people, and are now part of the community. And now, the orange-haired sociopath wants to get rid of them.
We're having a good time talking with Ohio State Senator Bill DeMora. We're running out of time. I'm going to ask you one quick question. What's your fondest memory of being a hatchet man for the Democratic Party?
I have a lot of fond memories. I mean, I have taken out my share of Democrats that weren't doing the right thing and my share of Republicans that, I have people followed when they need to be followed. I mean, I'm the old school guy. If it's good enough for Republicans, it's good enough for me to do. And I will win as long as it's in the confines of legality. I'll do what it takes to win. And I was good at it. And I'm still good at it.